Hi there, Bobby with Guardian Angel Birth Services on the topic of positive and effective communication skills with your medical care providers. First off, I just want to note that I hope you can appreciate my multitasking skills as I am a busy mom of 10, an entrepreneur, and I like to take advantage of my long commute rides. So you might notice that a lot of my videos are filmed in the car as I'm driving. Okay, so positive and effective communication skills with your medical care providers. First of all, why is this important? Why is this needed? Why does this topic need to be addressed? Well, number one, medical care providers are an authority in their field, and it's very easy for them to assert that authority over you, okay, when discussing medical topics. And that can be really intimidating to the general public. Even if you're knowledgeable on the topic that you're discussing, the health topic that you're discussing, even if you come in armed with a lot of knowledge, you may not know the best approach on how to get your concerns across to them, get more information that you need, and just have a positive, effective conversation with that medical team. Now, while I'm mainly addressing like pregnancy, birth, and postpartum, so your prenatals, your postpartum visits, and even in labor, the nice thing about these techniques is that they really apply to any situation. So whether that be just a regular doctor visit, a pediatric visit, a dentist, if you find yourself walking into the ER, these points are going to be effective in any situation. So grab a pen, piece of paper. You're going to want to take some notes, and let's dig in. So number one, you want to set the tone, okay? Right away. When you arrive and your doctor's visit, when you arrive in that ER room, when you arrive at the hospital in labor, do not wait to set the tone. You need to be the first one to set the tone. So what does that mean? Number one, remaining positive, okay? So smiling, being personable, noting their name, calling them by their name. If that means you need to write that down so you don't forget their name so that you can keep addressing them by their name, that is super important. That really grabs people's attention, and that really creates more of a positive rapport with them. Remember that you don't know what they've dealt with that day. The medical profession, that field can be very stressful. There's a lot of different things that they're dealing with, a lot of different people, a lot of different health issues, a lot of things. Okay, so you don't know what they have just stepped out of, from the previous patient before you. You have no idea what they're bringing with them. Okay, so you want to be able to set that tone, start that conversation as fresh and as positive as possible. So offer them some type of compliment. And if you don't know them, if it's not someone that you've worked with previously, if maybe you're meeting them for the first time, just offer them a superficial compliment, nice tie, great hair, love the shoes, something like that. Smile, be positive, show your enthusiasm about working with them and, the topics that are important and that you need to discuss, okay? And I know sometimes in emergency situations, this can be difficult. That portion of it can be difficult if maybe, you are walking into an ER room, or if you are in the middle of labor and something takes the turn, for the worst, or something difficult comes up. I know that part can be difficult, but try to be as personable and positive as possible. And the nice way to approach that as well is to offer them a compliment in an assuming way that benefits you. So for example, here's my birth plan. Thank you so much for reading this over and discussing this with me and supporting me through my goals. So they haven't even agreed to that yet. But you need to remember that you are hiring them, that they are working for you, and that you are the ultimate authority and the one that gets to make the final decisions on everything. So I want to encourage you to step into your power and assert that authority in a positive and effective way. So assuming compliments are a really great way to do that. For example, I know that what's going on right now is very chaotic. This is very stressful. Thank you so much for taking the time to explain to me some of my concerns that I have right now about whatever it is, whatever the issue is, okay? And again, you're going to call them by name. You're going to try to offer some type of other compliment or something positive that you can say to really set that tone to grab their attention. All right? All right. Second thing you're going to do is be very specific about your questions. Try to stay away from open-ended questions that would require just a opinionated answer. Okay? So for example, you're in there for a prenatal visit and you ask them, do you have a high C-section rate? Do you think that that would be a specific or non-specific question? That is a very non-specific question because that just allows them to answer based upon their opinion on whether or not they think that their C-section rate is high or not, right? So what would be a better way to ask that question? You would want to say specifically, what is your C-section rate? And then that would require them to answer specifically with statistics, with percentages. Our C-section rate is 30%. Okay? If they answer you non-specifically, then you need to ask again and require them to answer you specifically. If you ask a specific question and they answer it non-specifically, that's a red flag. If you ask a specific question and they say, oh, we have plenty of time, to get to that. That's not important right now. That's a red flag. If they dismiss you, if they kind of brush it off, if they answer non-specifically, if they are not addressing or listening to your questions, those are red flags. Okay? So don't allow that, and you need to keep pushing to get the answers that you need. So taking that a step further, if you're asking the specific question, like the example I gave, what are your C-section rates? You not only want to ask what their specific C-section rate is, like them in particular as the doctor, but then also what are the hospital C-section rates? Okay, so that would give you some good insight as to where the majority of those statistics lie. For example, if you're going to a hospital that has 5 doctors that practice in obstetrics and their overall hospital statistics are, for example, 30%, you would want to know which doctor is making up the majority of that percentage, or if that kind of works out equally amongst all of them. Which one has the lowest C-section rate in the hospital? Which one has the highest C-section rate? Those are very important questions to ask. So, if you ask your doctor only what his opinion is about C-sections, or if he's supportive of natural birth, those those are good questions to ask, but those really don't give you the specifics and the statistics that you're really needing to make informed decisions. So you really want to ask those specific questions. So that's just one example. And of course, you can apply that to any situation, to any question, to any intervention, to anything that's important to you. Okay? So that would be point number 2. Point number 3 would be discussing resources. Okay? So you want to be able to come in armed with resources that you've come across, and those need to be evidence-based resources, because those are the only things that are really going to hold up in conversation, and especially if you are arguing a point that may differ from the way that they practice within their specific practice, or if that differs from hospital policy and procedure. So you want to be able to come at them from an evidence-based point. So sharing your resources, and then asking them and challenging them for resources as well. Okay? You're hiring a doctor based upon expertise. If you walk into an ER room, you're kind of getting the luck of the straw. Like, whoever's working that day, it's likely that you don't know anything about them and you don't have much of a choice. Okay? So in either case, you need to feel empowered, and it's actually vital that you challenge them on their viewpoints, on the way that they practice, on their opinions, on their suggestions to you. Okay? Because every doctor and every hospital across the country, across the world, is going to practice differently. They're going to have different viewpoints. They're going to have different expertise. They're going to have different biases. And they're working under a different system. Each hospital has their own malpractice insurance that regulates their rules and regulations. And so hospital policies and procedures and statistics vary from hospital to hospital. So it's really important that you are challenging them on the advice and suggestions that they are giving you. Okay? So asking for evidence-based resources to back up those suggestions and opinions that they are giving you. And if they do not have that readily available, they need to get that for you. They need to be able to provide you with that information. So standing firm on that, that you will expect a phone call, a follow-up phone call, or a follow-up email, or a follow-up at your next visit if you're able. Whatever the situation is, time constraints are different in every situation. So, but they should be able to provide you with that written material to help you make informed decisions. Okay? Just merely providing you with opinion is not enough information to make an informed decision. Next point is that you need to ask for more time. So if you show up at a prenatal and they're offering you a certain test or procedure that day that maybe you were not prepared for, or you knew nothing about until that moment, and you've asked them questions, you've gotten the answers that you've needed, or not fully yet, and they need to look things up for you or provide the resources to you that were not readily available, then those things would require time. Those things would require you waiting until you can make an informed decision. And even if you were presented with written information, with good resources, with good, accurate, specific answers at that visit, that doesn't mean that you're necessarily ready to make a decision that day. You may need to go home and research those resources some more, think about it, pray about it, talk with some other medical professionals, maybe get a second opinion, maybe talk with your partner, whatever that might be. You may not be ready to make a decision or say yes that day. So it would be important then for you to say, thank you for this information, or I look forward to more information so that I can make an informed decision. I'm going to go home this week, today, whatever applies to your situation, and I'm going to think through this, and I hopefully will come back next week with an answer. If you're in the ER, if you are in the middle of labor, maybe you don't have the chance or the opportunity to go home and think through these things. Maybe, time is not on your side, and so you need to be able to do this more quickly. Then you would say, could you give us some time then to look this over, to discuss all of our options that we have here, and to think about this for a few minutes, and then come back in and we'll give you an answer. Maybe you need to make a phone call. Maybe you need to reach out to somebody. But allowing them to leave the room is super key, because standing over you makes you feel very pressured into making a decision that you are not ready to make. And if you're making a decision based off of pressure or fear, then that truly isn't a decision, is it? Someone else is making that decision for you. So asking for more time is very key, and depending upon your situation, that's going to make a difference in how much time you have to make that decision, okay? And then the last point would be to then offer them a sincere thank you, okay? Thank you so much for discussing all of this with us. Thank you so much, once again, for reading over our birth plan, for supporting us in our goals, for supporting us in knowing that we have the right to work through all of these options, to think through all of these options, and to make an informed decision whether we choose to decline or accept those. Thank you for respecting our authority as the parents, as the mom, as the person that has autonomy over my body and my baby and my family, to make these decisions for myself or my children or whatever that might be, right? It's really important that, again, you're stepping into your power, that you are asserting your authority, but you're also thanking them for their expertise, for their time, for their commitment to you, and for their respect of you. If you are not able to do that at the end of a visit, then you need to run as fast as you can out of that room and find a different provider. If you are in the middle of labor or you are in the ER, you need to request a different nurse. You need to request a different doctor. You need to explain to them how you feel you are not being supported or listened to, and that you need someone else that is willing to provide you with the resources that you need, the time that you need, and the conversations that you need to make informed decisions, and supporting you in your goals and supporting you in your decisions. So if you're not able to do that, it's so important that you realize you have the right to always say no. You have the right to leave. You have the right to ask for better care. So those main points are really the base foundation that I discuss in my class, and of course in my courses. We spend a great deal of time talking through other strategies and ways that you can implement those, and how you can feel adequately prepared for the unexpected, adequately prepared with your birth plan, with your postpartum plan, coming in armed with confidence and empowerment, and just working through the skills to get better and better at that. So I invite you to join me on a free discovery call where we can talk through your questions and talk through your goals for birth and postpartum. And that discovery call is free. So all you have to do is get in contact with me, send me a message. You can go onto my website and register with your email on there, and I am happy to hop on a discovery call with you. So once again, I'm Bobby with Guardian Angel Birth Services. I've been in this field for over 22 years. I am passionate about everything birth, postpartum, and women's health. So you can follow me on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. And my website, once again, is guardianangelbirths.com. Until next time, we'll see ya.